Welcome to the Winning Fourcast, where the Gelding and I will give you our 4 best bets for Caulfield races tomorrow. Our confidence might be a little bit dented after last week, but we're back, Gelding, and looking forward to tomorrow's racing.
Yes, good afternoon, Professor. This Friday afternoon when we're pre-recording. Good afternoon to the listeners. A bit slow off the mark today, Professor. Yes, last week. Well, what can we say? In James McDonald, we don't trust anymore.
We were on the wrong James McDonald horses, Gelding.
He rides a double, 2 Group 1s. We've backed him in 3 races and not a placing. Oh, well, Professor, that's all we can say is that's an old name for a show, isn't it? That's racing.
It's an excellent name for a show, Gelding.
Beautiful.
All right, it's a 10-race card at Caulfield tomorrow, Gelding. The first is at 12:05 p.m, the last at 5:25. The feature race, race 7, the Galilee Series Final, a listed race for 3-year-olds over 2,400 metres worth, $200,000 purse, Gelding. Not quite as much as on offer tomorrow in New South Wales.
Yes, I think a couple of their races cover the whole outlay at Caulfield, Professor, with the $5 million Queen Elizabeth Stakes, which we'll talk about a little bit later on.
All right, Gelding, the track's currently rated a good 4, but I would suggest that punters look very carefully at the rating tomorrow morning because it could well be downgraded because of the rain.
Professor, I would certainly query that rating, being 1.2 kilometres away from the main straight at Caulfield. We copped a bit of rain last night and it's been on and off today. So I would be working on a softish track, Professor.
All right, the rail's out 8 metres, Gelding. What's that going to do?
Well, hopefully, Professor, at normally 8 metres, it gives horses, from the back bit of a chance. Look, I'm hoping after last week, the old Caulfield was back, have to be up on pace. Look, I'm looking for horses to be on pace tomorrow and, just hopefully can hang around. They might get a bit of a headwind coming into the straight. Fingers crossed, Professor, hoping for at least a Caulfield track because, as we said, there's always 2 conditions or 2 caveats we put on it where presuming we're going to get a good ride from the jockey and 2, the track is not a biased track.
Yes, Gelding, that's right. Just by the by, Gelding, got a text from one of our regular viewers, Jack from Richmond, who congratulated us on tipping Ambassadorial a couple of weeks ago because he followed it again at Caulfield last week, and guess what? It saluted in the last.
And did very, very well, paid handsomely.
Were you on that one as well, Gelding?
Oh, I might have had a little each way.
Same here. All right, Gelding, what are your 2 best bets for Caulfield tomorrow?
I'm going very late in the day, Professor. In fact, I'm going into the last 2 races. The first one is race 9, horse number 6, Oliveanotherday. It's a 3-year-old Nakoni horse trained by Tom Davinick. Tom used to be with the Hazes and, of course, is a relation of the Hazes and trained with David Hayes. But he's down in Warrnambool these days and very rarely brings a horse to the main Saturday meeting. So he's got this Oliveanotherday racing. It's won its last 2, Professor. I've gone for horses, only a handful of runs, but good percentage rates, Professor. Oliveanotherday, 5 starts for 3 wins and a second. So 60% and 80% place bet. This is a horse that settles on pace. So I'm looking at to be right up there and hopefully nicely weighted at 56 kilos. And our jockey, Harry Coffey, knows how to ride a horse. So hopefully my bets can get off with Oliveanotherday. Round about the even money, hopefully, Professor. So might be one to include in your parlays. My second bet is another lightly raced horse. Race 10, horse 14, Trapdoor, a brutal 3-year-old. Trained by the Hawks team. It's had 4 starts, Professor, for 2 wins and 2 seconds. So it's a 50% win rate, 100% place rate. The second was 2 starts ago at Sandown Hillside, Professor, when it was beaten a long neck and the stewards queried the ride of Ben Mellum. The next start, Ben Mellum wasn't on it. And I won at Sandown by a length and a half with Bo Mertens on board. So, and look, this is a horse that settles again on pace. So I'm hoping it can race well in a benchmark 74 over a mile, coming up from a benchmark 70 over 1,400, Professor. But look, its form's been solid at Sandown and hopefully can continue on tomorrow at Caulfield, round about the $3 to $4 mark. So hopefully that can go well. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, I'm going way earlier than you are.
Must be my tips, is it?
It must be, but not in race one, Gelding, not in race one. You can have a little bit of an extra sleep in tomorrow. The first one's in race 2, Gelding, the Wagstaff Group Handicap. Benchmark 70 for horses 3-year-old and over 1,200 metres. I like in this one, horse number 12, King Tut, coming out of barrier 9, had the 6 starts for 2 wins and 3 placings, so an excellent placing record there, Gelding. 33% win rate, 83% place rate. Now, Gelding, the sire of King Tut.
American Pharaoh.
Do you recognise the horse?
Yes, American Pharaoh.
Yes, won the Triple Crown, Gelding.
Yes, the last horse to do it.
And also 8.5 million US in stake money.
I was expecting to see you in a Kentucky Derby hat, Professor.
Oh, perhaps I should have. There was my big chance to wear it, Gelding. Maybe before the end of the show I'll get it.
Well, mine's not far away, just out of camera range, Professor.
All right, Gelding. Well, this horse is in a stronger class tomorrow. It's a 4-year-old Gelding. It's won over the distance, the last at the Heath track at the start of March. Also travels well in the soft ground, Gelding, so I did like that.
Yep.
Thomas Stockdale on board. He's in career form at the moment. Over his career, he's got an 11% win rate, but for this season, he's up to 13%, so that's a terrific percentage strike rate for him. And we've got the leading Metropolitan trainer training the horse, Gelding, Kieran Maher, 61 in winners, 16 clear of the Hayes boys. In career form also, 14% win rate at the moment.
He's doing a fantastic job, Kieran Maher, so yeah, you can always back his horses with a bit of confidence.
And you can get $4 and $1.80 at the moment, so very nice each way odds.
Yes, very nice.
Now, a non-racing question without notice, Gelding.
I love these, Professor.
Who played King Tut in the Batman TV series back in the 1960s? Do you remember?
Are you talking when Adam West was Batman?
Yes, when Adam West was Batman. So who can you recollect who played King Tut?
No, I've got the picture of the gentleman, rather large gentleman.
Yes, he was a rather large gentleman.
Yes, you've got me though, Professor, on a without notice.
All right, it was Victor Bueno.
Victor Bueno. Yes, you can see it now with the little goatee hanging down there. Yes.
It's a bit similar to somebody else we know, Gelding.
Yes, know a few people like that.
We do. Anyway, that's my first selection, race 2, horse number 12, King Tut. The second selection, Gelding's in race 4, the up-and-coming Stars Series Final, a Class 3 race over 1,400 metres. In this one, I like horse number 13, Dirty Look, coming out of barrier 8, Gelding. It's only had 3 starts for 1 win and 2 placings, so it's always been in the money, 33% win rate, 100% place rate. It's in a weaker class tomorrow, Gelding. It last ran at Sandown in a benchmark 64 over 1,400 metres when it ran a good second 2 weeks ago. It'll come from midfield, so hopefully the track will suit. We're hoping for another win from Harry Coffey, Gelding.
Yes, Harry's our boy tomorrow.
Exactly. And Graham Begg training. He's in career form at the moment. 13% win rate over his career, but in this season alone, 16.5%. He's lifted at 3.5 points, Gelding.
Yeah, he's certainly turning the horses out well, Graham Begg. And again, like a Kieran Maher stable, you can back his horses with a little bit of confidence. Yeah, normally Gordon Childs would probably be riding the horse, but he's riding the Beaks horses up in Sydney during the championships.
Yes, Gelding. So currently $2.70 and $1.40. So some pretty good
nice odds.
There. Nice odds there as well, Gelding.
Yep.
My 2 for tomorrow, race 2, horse 12, King Tut, into race 4, horse 13, Dirty Look. And we're going to have a dirty look at the Professor's Parlay, Gelding. The vexed question, the Professor's Parlay.
No.
Let me go with the 2 winning legs first, Gelding. We went for the NBL again for the last time for the season. As you recollect, it was Game 5, the Kings against the 36ers. Well, what a great game that was. The Sydney Kings got up in overtime against the Adelaide 36ers. Point guard Kendrick Davis leading the way. We had him to score 15 points or more. He scored 35 points with 14 assists, Gelding, so he had a day out.
He did indeed, as we predicted, as you predicted.
As we predicted, Gelding, and we've parlayed that into Sydney Kings forward Xavier Cates to have 2 assists or more. Well, he got 4, so he doubled what we needed. Now, let's look at the horse leg, and nothing against you, Gelding. You couldn't possibly have predicted that in a 9-horse race, Tentaurus would come ninth.
Mark Zara had it last, and that's where the horse stayed. So, yes, I don't think we'll see Tentaurus running on a rain-affected track again. But despite that, Professor, you'd want it to run a better performance. After winning the Lightning Stakes so well, to fail in the Newmarket and then the TJ, just says it's a long way off. But anyway, that's racing.
All right, Gelding, tomorrow's Professor's Parlay. Let's look at the racing leg. We've selected as the joint bet of the day, race 9, horse 7, McDonald and Waller on Autumn Glow. Perhaps if you'd like to tell the viewers exactly why we've picked that as the agreed bet of the day.
Oh, well, Professor, we tried to, with the parlay, we tried with the horse leg, we try to get you the best horse racing in Australia. Autumn Glow at the moment could be said as the best horse in Australia. 11 starts for 11 wins. So you can't do better than 100%. And in a $5 million race, you've got the best jockey in Australia in James McDonald on board by the leading Australian trainer, Chris Waller. So when you get the best horse with the best jockey and the best trainer, hopefully we get a good result.
Exactly, Gelding. So that's anchoring the parlay, and let's parlay that. We can't go to the NBL anymore, Gelding. We'll have to wait another 6 months before we can go back there.
We'll be interested to see where you're going, Professor.
Well, I'm not going to the Premier League, that's for sure, Gelding. All right, we're going to the AFL. The AFL's implored us to gather round, so we're going to gather round into the parlay, Gelding.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So we'll go with the Sunday games, Gelding. We'll go with Geelong to beat West Coast Eagles. Geelong currently 12th. Had a modest start by their standards, Gelding. They've won 2 and lost 2, but they lost by a point to Hawthorn on Easter Monday. So I'm looking at that form to say, well, they're not too far off because I'm expecting Hawthorn to do some good things this season. West Coast Eagles have also won 2 from 4. They're only one rung on the ladder below Geelong, but I think as we get further into the season, Gelding, we might see that there's a bigger difference between the two teams. Geelong will be going up, and I don't think West Coast will hold where they are. They were smashed by 128 points by Sydney on their home deck, so that's not great form. So let's go for Geelong to beat West Coast Eagles, and we'll parlay that into, unfortunately, Gelding, I'm going against your team, the Tigers.
I think you've got to, Professor. Can't see him winning too many.
No, Greater Western Sydney to beat Richmond. Greater Western Sydney 15th. They've only won one game, Gelding, but that one win was they beat Hawthorn in the opening round. So I don't know what's happened in the last 3 rounds, but they certainly haven't reproduced that form. Richmond, a very disappointing 18th. I think the best game they played was their first game, Gelding, and that's when they had Lynch and Curvis both firing for half a game. Now, the whole team's struggling because you can't afford to lose 2 of your tallest players. And what have they got to replace them with?
Well, yeah, not too much. And when the baby giraffe, Ryan, came in last week to replace in the ruck, commits a silly act of punching someone in the stomach and gets a week. So, some of those silly little things, we're struggling for players as it is. Yeah, can't afford silly little mistakes like that. I think it's going to be a long year for me, Professor.
Yes, I think it might be a long year, Gelding. The Professor's Parlay tomorrow, Gelding, at Randwick. We've gone for race 9, horse number 7, Autumn Glow, and we'll parlay that into 2 AFL legs, Geelong to beat West Coast Eagles and Greater Western Sydney to beat Richmond, Gelding. And let's hope for a lot better luck than last week.
And what is the parlay running at, Professor?
A little bit under 50% at the moment, Gelding.
Still a good outcome, Professor.
Yes, it is. All right, Gelding, that's all for the winning forecast for this week. So until next week, it's good luck.
And good punting.
Responsible gambling is paramount. For support, contact the Gambling Help online at 1800 858 858 or visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.